Okay, first let me say, as I say at the beginning of all my videos, that you will not see me on screen. I will not be on camera, and I'm using a way, I won't say how, to disguise my voice because I want to remain anonymous. As a cybersecurity expert, I know that if I were to say something that people didn't approve of, or it made them angry, I could be looking at some crazy out there trying to track me down. So, I disguise my voice, and you will not see me on screen. But hopefully, we'll have some fun here. Today's dinner is going to be grilled yellowfin tuna steaks. Very easy to make with the recipe that I use. However, you will notice that I do not give you one of the ingredients. You can see me apply it, but I've got it wrapped up in paper so that you cannot tell what it is. And I do not give out that ingredient unless somebody contacts me via direct message, and I can feel fairly certain that they won't tell anybody else what the ingredient is. And some people might say, well, what's the point of all that? Well, I'll tell you. The last thing that I want is for some chef to see this video. Some chef in some 4-star restaurant in New York City, he sees this video, he sees all the ingredients, he sees how I make it, decides, you know what, I'll try that. It's probably going to turn out terrible, but I'll try it. And he tries it and he says, oh my God, damn, that's good. We should start serving this in our restaurant. And so he does, and he starts getting all these accolades for how great his tuna steaks are. Except that he stole the recipe from me. So he gets all the accolades, and nobody knows that I'm the one that came up with it. So I don't want that happening. I've had that kind of stuff happen to me before. So now I keep certain things to myself. But if somebody really wants it, and they can show me that they're not going to give it to anybody, that they don't work as a chef in some restaurant, I'll consider telling them what the secret ingredient is. Or if it's some celebrity who I follow on Twitter, and so I know who they are, yeah, I'd probably give it to them. But they'd have to promise that they're not going to give it to anybody else. They're certainly not going to give it to some chef someplace. So, this is what we're going to be making today. First, I'll show you the ingredients you're going to need. Well, the things that you'll need. First thing I recommend is getting a Calphalon grill pan, just like this one. Works very, very well. It's not expensive. It's certainly worth, the few dollars that you have to pay to get it. And it really does do a good job. So I highly recommend getting one. It's great for grilling fish, and it's great for grilling steaks. You're going to need Pam, and I use Pam grilling because it's specifically designed for high temperatures, and we're going to be cooking these tuna steaks at somewhere between 475 and 500 degrees. My thermometer in my oven doesn't really give me detailed information on exactly what the temperature is. So all I know is that it's somewhere between 475 and 500. You're going to need garlic powder. Any garlic powder will do. I prefer Spice Islands, but if I can't get it, then I use McCormick, which is what I'm using here. Morton Seasonal. Of course, the secret ingredient. Some salt. And Land O'Lakes whipped butter. And this, when you buy this, one thing you want to do is make sure that you do not stick it in your refrigerator. Because if you take it out of the refrigerator and try to use it, it's going to be hard as rock. So what I do is I usually buy 4 or 5 tubs. I set one on top of the refrigerator, and I put the others inside the refrigerator. When the one on top of the refrigerator starts getting low, Then I take another one out, set it underneath it. That way it can be sitting out and softening. And then, of course, the tuna. And I've got 3 tuna steaks here, which is what we're going to be cooking today. And I tell you what, in the other videos, it was all talk, all me talking and me showing, and wasn't a lot of fun for me. So today, well, I'm sure a lot of you are not going to like it. I'm going to put some music on. So I got something to listen to while I'm doing this. Okay, Google. Play the soundtrack from the movie Coyote Ugly.
Here you go.
I love that song. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is spray some Pam in this pan. And I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like when I'm done, because this is important. You got to get enough Pam in here to do the job well. Now, this is how it should look. You see how you can see all that white in there? That's a lot of Pam. But if you want to keep your pan nice and pristine, make it very easy to clean when you're done, this is how much you want to have in there. You want a pretty good thick coating of this stuff in there. And it does not impact the way the tuna cooks. No matter who tells you what, I don't care what chef said this or said that, the Pam does not impact the tuna in any way. I've been doing this for a long time, making this particular recipe. Turns out great every single time, never have a problem. So don't be afraid to put a bunch of Pam in there in order to make it easy to clean the pan afterwards and keep the pan in pristine condition. Okay, now I already washed my hands. You'll have to take my word for that. Always wash your hands before you're handling food. Always, always, always. You don't want anybody getting sick. And after handling the food, it's a good idea to wash your hands immediately after that. Or at least get them rinsed off. Now you don't want any of the tuna touching. As you can see, I've got them spread apart, which is the way they should be when you cook them. Next step is to put the salt. Well, the reason I put the salt is not to make this stuff salty. A lot of that salt's going to end up coming right off. Now, as I've said when I made the video on grilling my filet mignon, the purpose of this is to use the salt to help draw the flavoring from the various items that I'm going to put on the tuna into the meat. Now, it doesn't soak in very far. It doesn't work as well as a brining solution, but it does work. It will bring the flavors in a little bit. Plus, you'll have the flavors on top of the meat too, so you get kind of a double dose. But you'll see what I'm talking about in a few minutes when I cover the other items that get put on here. So that's first. Next step is the garlic powder. And this recipe is quick and easy to make. Takes, oh, maybe 10 minutes to prepare it and 10 minutes to cook it. So now we'll put the garlic powder. I've got a fan going, so it's blowing the garlic powder into the pan and right off of the tuna. Some people think I'm crazy having the window open and a fan going when I'm in Minnesota and it's 20 degrees out and it's snowing. But they don't know this apartment uses hot water heat, radiator heat, and it gets so hot in this place, it's just a nightmare. I mean, it can get to 100 degrees in here and there's no way to adjust it. So the only way that I can get the temperature right is to open up the windows, put a fan in them, and turn the fans on to a certain speed so it brings cold air in from outside and mixes with the hot air to get me just the right temperature. Otherwise, this apartment would be unbearable. Alright, so now the seasonal. Don't want too much seasonal, just a light dusting. Get it on all 3 pieces of tuna. Ah, too much came out. Alright. Now comes the secret ingredient. This one gets put on pretty liberally. Trying to make sure that I'm pointing the camera at the meat so you can see. Try and get a close-up of this so you can see it a little better. You can see that there's a fair amount of that secret ingredient on there. Okay, the next step is to put the butter on. Now this is what helps work with the salt to bring the flavors from the garlic powder, the Morton seasonal, and the secret ingredient into the meat. The butter melts, mixes with the salt, mixes with the seasonings, and soaks into the meat. Okay, now you can't just spread, you cannot just spread the butter onto these steaks because it won't work. So you have to do what I'm doing. You just kind of use the edge of the meat to scrape the butter off the knife. And then you do that, you do this to the other 2 pieces. I'll try and show it to you, but I'm trying to watch what I'm doing with the tuna and make sure that the camera can catch it at the same time. It's a little difficult for me. I'm not really that great at multitasking here. Okay, one more. Oh, I like this song. come on. Alright. That's about as good as we're going to get. If we try and move that butter around, it's going to come right off the meat. It sticks to the knife. So it's really kind of difficult to do that. That's why you can't just spread it, because it won't stick to the fish. It'll just come right off with the knife, and it'll take all the seasonings with it. That's why you have to kind of scrape the knife against the edge of the tuna so that the butter stays on top of the tuna. Now at this point, the next step, and actually I should have already done this, it's to heat up the oven. That's going to take a little while. So I'm going to leave the camera on and running while I get the oven up to the proper temperature. Now, my oven has two broil settings, low and high, and we're going to be using broil. So I'm going to be setting it to high. Now I'm going to get a yardstick. There are several positions inside my oven that you can set the rack to, and the rack should be approximately 8 inches below the broiler element. You don't want it any closer than that, but you don't want it too much further away. Right around 8 or 9 inches will be perfect. And then I set my broiler to the high setting, and that gets it up to somewhere between 475 and 500 degrees. So now I'm going to have to sit and wait for that to heat up. And this oven is really slow heating up. So this is going to add a lot of wasted time to this video. I should have had the oven heated up already before I started this. So we're just going to have to wait. But I can sit here and listen to the Coyote Ugly soundtrack while we're waiting. Now you may not like this kind of music, so you might want to just fast forward this YouTube video until you get to the point where I'm putting the meat into the oven. And you'll be able to tell when that is, because you'll see the pan get moved. Now, when I put this in the oven, it's only going to take 5 minutes. 5 minutes in there. Then we take the pan out, and we repeat the process on the other side. We turn the steaks over, and before we do, you'll be able to see what they look like when they come out of the oven. And you'll see how nice they look. So anyway, we turn the steaks over, put on the salt, put on the garlic powder, put on the seasonal, put on the secret ingredient, put the butter on, put it back in the oven for 5 more minutes, and it's done. Total cooking time, 10 minutes. 5 minutes on each side, that's it. So, it's pretty fast. And as you can see, getting the steaks ready is pretty easy. All you have to do is put this Pam in the pan, spray the pan with Pam, and then put your tuna steaks in, put on the salt, put on the garlic powder, put on the seasonal, put on the secret ingredient, put on the butter, and you are ready to go. I've made this many times, and every person that's ever tasted it has just been knocked out of their socks by the way this thing tastes. And I'm sure there's guys out there, professional chefs, that are saying, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's no chef. You want to know something? You're right. I'm no chef. You want to know what else? So what? I'm not bound by the rules that you guys are bound by. All those stupid rules you learn in cooking school. Do this, do that. Oh, you can't do this. Oh, you can't do that. Give me a break. The only way you're going to find out what tastes good and what doesn't is by breaking the rules and experimenting. Sometimes it'll be a flop. I've had more than my share of flops. Sometimes you'll be incredibly surprised. I hadn't listened to these songs in a long time. And then last night, forget which channel it was. Might have been Indie or Sundance, or maybe one of the Stars channels that I get on Comcast. But they had Coyote Ugly on. And I love that movie. Yeah, I know the critics hated it. It's only rated 1 star out of a possible 4 stars. But I love it. And I love the music. Leanne Rimes is good. One thing else that you're going to need, get yourself a good oven thermometer. Something that can just hang on the rack in the oven and measure the temperature for you. Unfortunately, mine isn't as good as I would like, but it's okay. I need something to drink. And no, I don't mean alcohol. I just got done making tea, one of my favorite teas, but it's not cold yet, and I only like iced tea. I don't like drinking hot tea. If I'm cold, yeah, but I'm not cold. In fact, it's already getting pretty warm in here with the oven on. The oven and that radiated heating that we have sucks. I should turn the fan on, but I don't want it blowing snow into the food. So I need to get something to drink. Let's see. There's Hawaiian Punch, root beer, and Tahitian Treat. I haven't had a root beer in a while. I'll have a root beer. I try not to drink hardly any soda. But I try to drink mostly tea or natural juice, unsweetened natural juice. But you do what you gotta do. And since I don't have any tea available, and I don't have any juice, all I can do is drink some soda. Or I could drink water and put some flavor enhancer in it and add a spoonful of sugar. Because those flavor enhancers, they taste awful. And I drink the one that's Tang, and with that artificial sweetener, it just tastes horrible. But add 1 spoonful of sugar, and it significantly improves the taste. And 1 spoonful of sugar for a glass my size isn't that much. My glass holds about 18 fluid ounces. So 1 spoonful of sugar is not that much. And I'm really supposed to be very, very moderate in my sugar intake because my blood sugar is already high. So I shouldn't even be drinking this root beer. You never know. I could be doing one of these videos, start drinking a soda, and all of a sudden start to go into insulin shock. Y'all be able to hear me dying as I'm trying to make my food. Oh, that root beer is good. No, YouTube. I don't want to listen to those stupid ads. I remember this scene. This is where I need to do my John Goodman imitation. Ow! I'm a coyote! You can't see it, but I'm dancing like John Goodman, like I'm on the bar. I can just hear that woman say, "Take some of it off! Take some of it off! Put her back on! Put her back on!" Man, it's getting hot in here. God damn. I still got a ways to go. It's only at about 300 degrees, I think. Yeah, it's about 325 right now. It's got a little ways to go yet. I guess about another 5 to 10 minutes before it's at temperature. I think I gotta take something off. It's too damn hot in here. Take my shirt off, Jesus. Oh man, I forgot to take off my watch and put it underneath the light. Better do that now. Yeah, I got a solar watch. Citizen Echo Drive. You know, I'll tell you, I'd be willing to put this recipe up against anything that they have at Spago's. But I don't think too much of those big fancy restaurants. And if you were to order a tuna steak at Spago's, it would probably be about that big around. And it would have little intricately sliced, almost like carved vegetables, you know, maybe a radish or a carrot or something that's been sliced up to look like some sort of little animal or something, maybe look like a flower. They try to make it look all nice and pretty. They call it presentation. But by the time you get done eating it, which only takes you like maybe 3 minutes, you're still hungry. and what did they charge you for that? $150? That's ridiculous. I don't care what they put on it. I'll tell you, there are very few chain restaurants that have food that I really like. There are a few steakhouses that are like Morton Steakhouse. They have good steaks. Ruth's Chris, they're pretty good. Yeah, I enjoy the food there. But the kind of food that I really love is down home Southern cooking. You know, just ordinary home style Southern country cooking, which you really can't even get at a restaurant in this country, except one restaurant. And by one, I mean it's a chain restaurant, so one chain of restaurants, probably the only place where you can get that kind of food. Unfortunately for me, in Minnesota, there's only one of them in the whole state. And that restaurant is 45 minutes drive from where I live. So, and I usually get takeout. So when I go down there, when I'm willing to make that drive down there and then 45 minutes back again, so an hour and a half round trip just to go to this restaurant, I usually will buy a bunch of dinners and bring them home, stick them in the refrigerator, so that I can have their cooking, their food, for a while. Now, if I spend $70 for meals at that restaurant, that'll buy me about 10 different dinners, because the average cost of their dinner is only around $6.99 or $7.99. That's cheaper than a Whopper meal with supersized fries and a super drink from Burger King. And this food is so much better, and so much better for you. For those of you that have no idea what restaurant chain I'm talking about, I'm going to show you, because I got one of their menus right here. I keep it right on my refrigerator. And there she is. Southern Homestyle Cooking. Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel has excellent food. If you got a Cracker Barrel anywhere near you, I really suggest you go there once. You're gonna love it. I don't think they even have those in LA, which is a shame. You people out in California, you don't know what you're missing if you haven't eaten at Cracker Barrel. One of my favorite dinners there is their chicken and dumplings. Oh man, home style chicken and dumplings. And you can't get that at any other restaurant. No way. I'll turn off the ad. I'm not interested in that stupid ad. Yeah, that's me opening up another root beer. I shouldn't, I know it. What are you gonna do? Need something to cool me down. And I'm not drinking water. I can't stand plain water. I can think of some celebrity females that my heart would go boom, 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 boom over. Most of them are on my list of people I'd most like to meet, though I know I never will. Ah, the light just went out. Oh shoot, it's later than I thought. Well, at least the kitchen light is still on. I've got a 4-foot long, 8-bulb fluorescent sunlight. Grow light, I should call it grow light, in the living room. And I have that running from around, I don't know, I guess around noon till around 7:30 in the evening. I've got some plants here in the living room. One is a tree. Yeah, I've got a tree growing in my living room. The other is water spinach. That's what's in one pot, and the tree that's in the other pot is a calamansi tree. And I've got those growing in the living room, and they need sunlight, so I got a really nice grow light. It's got 8 bulbs. 4 of them provide the red UV light, and the other 4 provide the blue UV light. So one, I think it's the red that's for flowering and the blue that's for growth, or maybe it's the other way around, I don't remember. But I think you can still see. I think it's still bright enough in here for the camera with just the kitchen light. Let me check the temperature, see if we're ready to go. Oh yeah. Okay, so what is it? It's only showing the temperature as being around 475. The highest my thermometer goes up to is 450, and it's a little bit beyond 450, so I'm not sure exactly what the temperature is. I'd say probably around 475. So now we will put the steaks into the oven for 5 minutes. And remember, your rack should be 8 inches below the broiling element. Now I gotta get the timer and set the timer for 5 minutes. Now the handle on this pan, when it comes out of the oven, is going to be super hot. Now I know most of us have oven mitts to help protect our hands from the heat, but I'm telling you, this handle is really, really hot. So what I've done is I've put one oven mitt inside of another, a smaller one inside of a larger one, so that I get double the protection. And even then I can still feel the heat from the handle. So let me tell you, you need to be careful. Absolutely careful. Make sure you got plenty of protection on your hand when you go to take this thing out of the oven. Don't want anybody getting hurt. I don't know who's singing, but she's good. I like her voice. Wish someone could tell me who she is that's singing it. The song is Didn't We Love, but I don't know who's singing it. They show her there singing it. That's not Leanne Rimes, or it certainly doesn't look like Leanne Rimes to me, so I don't know who that is, but she's good. I like her voice. Okay, so we're down to 3 minutes. In 3 minutes, we'll take these tuna steaks out and you'll be able to see what they look like on the side that we prepped. Then we'll flip them over, prep the other side, cook them for 5 more minutes, and you'll be able to see how they are when they come out of the oven. They're perfect. Oh man, I can smell them. I mean, they've only been in the oven for not even 2.5 minutes, and I can smell it. Oh God, if you could smell this, you would be so hungry. I swear to God, my mouth is watering. And for those of you that don't know, I refer to myself in my videos as the Unknown Cook, sort of a takeoff on the Unknown Comic. Of course, I could never be a comic. I'm sure everybody out there is saying, hey, don't quit your day job. You're right. I'm no comic. Just be glad you can't hear me sing. You'd really be saying, don't quit your day job. to a minute and 20. Better get the oven lit. We're gonna need it. I know what I'll do. I'll get that light back on. Alright, turn the grow light back on. That'll give us more light. Down to 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Turn off the timer. Set it back to 0. And get the pan out. There we go. One side is done. Take a look at this. So that's what they look like, having cooked on one side. Now I gotta get the tongs so I can turn them over. Alright, I don't know that you need to see this, but turn it over. Lift it up and move it there. Alright. So now we do the same thing on this side that we did before. First the salt. Then the garlic powder. Light dusting of garlic powder. The seasonal. Problem with the seasonal, it has a tendency to come out too fast. And then of course there's that fan that's blowing. So it tends to blow the seasonal all over the place. Ah, damn. Too much. It won't hurt anything, but I don't like that much on there. Just want to have a light dusting. But this stuff, the secret ingredient, that gets put on pretty good. Some people are probably saying, you know what, that looks like a seasoning rub. It is a seasoning rub. But I'm not going to tell you which one. And that's the important part. Alright, so now we put the butter on. don't know that I need to show you that again. And it's really hard for me to aim the camera at the meat and put the butter on at the same time because I really need to watch what I'm doing. So I'm not going to show you putting the butter on again. You can always see it at the beginning when we did the first side. You can watch that over again. Okay, I got the butter on one of them. Putting it on the second one. Remember how I told you. Just scrape your knife against the edge of the meat, leaving the butter on top. If you can force the butter into the center, that helps. Problem now is that this meat is hot, and the butter's going to want to run right off the meat because the meat's not perfectly flat. So you really have to kind of hurry and get this stuff on there before it starts running off. Ah, damn it. I'm not gonna make it. It's running off the meat. I'm having a real hard time here. I'm not gonna make it in time. I don't think. I'm working on the... oh, shit. Working on the last one. But I'm losing the butter from the others. Ah! Come on. Darn it! Ah. I'm trying to keep this stuff on top of the meat as best I can. Alright. Get the... shit, where's the... okay. Alright. Take this, put it in the oven. Oh, I got... oh, man. All of that came off. I've never had this much trouble. Alright, there we go. Oh, shit. Alright. 5 minutes. I've never had that much trouble with that butter. Of course, usually the steaks are a lot flatter. And I don't have so much trouble with it running off. That's something I probably should have brought up. Try and make sure that your tuna steaks are very well cut so that the flat part of the meat actually is flat, that there aren't any bumps or any lumps or any curves or anything that's going to cause the butter to run off the center, run from the center off to the sides and fall down into the pan before you get the pan back into the oven. You really want the butter to pool on top. Otherwise it carries everything off the meat. Now, carrying some of the salt off the meat, no big deal. But you don't want it to carry the spices off the meat. In fact, what's happening, you saw it there when I showed you what the steaks look like, is that the butter tends to caramelize on the surface of the meat. So, not only do you have the salt and the butter combining with the spices to help pull the spices into the meat a little bit and soak in, but the butter caramelizes on top of on the surface of the tuna, and when it does that, it creates a bit of a crust, and that crust is just butter and salt and spices and tuna flavor, and oh my god, I'm telling you, when you bite into this, it's like an explosion of flavor in your mouth. I mean, it's just that good. So now we're waiting for the the other side to cook. 5 minutes for the other side, and these things are done. So I'm going to put the ingredients away. We don't need them anymore. Put away the salt. I already put the butter away. Put away the seasonal. Put away the secret ingredient. Put away the garlic powder. Get everything put away. And I guess what I will have with my tuna steak that I eat for dinner is my leftover macaroni and cheese. There's not a lot of it left in the food container, so it shouldn't take more than a minute to heat up. Now I'm going to be doing one of these videos for macaroni and cheese, the way that I make my macaroni and cheese. I think it tastes a lot better than just ordinary mac and cheese. But we all like mac and cheese, don't we? And it's one of the favorite foods for most kids. And we were all kids once. I'll tell you what I start off with when I make my mac and cheese, because I like doing it kind of the easy way. Though I jazz it up. I mean, I don't just use this stuff. But this is what I start off with. Right there. Kraft macaroni and cheese. The original flavor. I start off with that. I add some additional macaroni. Some small elbow macaroni. About, I guess about a cup. I add to it. And once the macaroni has cooked, that's where I begin the customization process. So that it comes out a whole lot better than just ordinary macaroni. Macaroni and cheese, I mean. It might not be to everybody's taste, but it's definitely to my taste. I love it. Alright. We're down to 30 seconds. 30 seconds left, and these steaks are done. Where is my oven mitt? There it is. Put the yardstick away. Alright. 2, 1. And that's it. They're done. Get it out of the oven. Turn the oven off. Oh yeah. These turned out perfect. Absolutely perfect. And here they are. That's what they look like. There's one. There's the other. And there's the third one. Don't those look good? Let me tell you, they taste delicious. Wish you were here. And that is it.